Good morning, everybody. This is Inga Cotton, and I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms. And we're starting a new series we call Charter Moms Chats because we've all found ourselves as accidental homeschoolers, and having done it before. And also, I mean, this is what I do. I help parents solve problems in education, and if that's a charter school or if that's homeschooling or traditional public school, we're here to help with whatever you need. So our sense was that the need right now is just to get a little bit of encouragement and guidance, and just be honest about what struggles we're dealing with as we find ourselves on week 2 of spring break. So today is Tuesday, March 17th, 2020, and so this is our second episode. And what I wanted to talk about today was scheduling, because that's what showed up in the comments yesterday. Also, so I highly recommend, if you haven't already, please join the San Antonio Charter Moms discussion group on Facebook, because we've had a lot of discussion there, sharing resources. So we have a thread about school closures, which there hasn't been any new information yet, but we're expecting on Thursday there should be a kind of a coordinated announcement about like a lot of schools are closed this week through the 20th, but are tentatively scheduled to reopen on the 23rd. But honestly, I don't expect a lot of schools to reopen next week, but they should be announcing what their plans are. Are they going to be helping students log in? Are they going to be sending packets home? So one thing that is up and running is a lot of schools are offering meal programs, but it's kind of curbside. So like you drive up to the school at breakfast time or lunchtime, they'll bring the food to your car. And let's thank all the food service workers who are working really hard to make sure that the families who depend on the meal programs are still able to access that. But again, we're sharing resources like that in the group. We also have a thread about online resources that we can find. Like a lot of distance learning programs are offering free subscriptions, or maybe there's like things that have always been out there, but we just never had time to use, right? Like, videos about learning art, or like virtual tours of museums. A lot of people are stepping up to offer their skills, right? So children's authors are reading their own books online, or leading drawing lessons and things like that. So we have a long thread going of resources like that. So if you have something to share, join the group, add it to the thread. If you're looking for a problem like how to do PE at home, there's like a YouTube channel of kids yoga. So we've got lots of problem solving stuff there. So yes, please join the group. But I wanted to talk about today was scheduling. So this is going to work differently in a lot of different families. But I wanted to talk about what's been our experience, and then also, kind of open it up to questions. If you, questions or suggestions, like, how it's working in your family. So the reality is, so on Monday, which is kind of our first day of accidental homeschooling, I still had a lot of work to get done for my, for running the nonprofit. So to be honest, my kids spend a fair amount of screen time. And that's not ideal, but that may be in the short run, that's maybe the best we can do. So I feel like the building blocks, like the things you've got to take care of first, are just making sure that everyone's getting, meals at regular times, that everyone's getting enough exercise and getting enough sleep. And I think all those things fit together. Now, in my family, we're morning people, but I know not everyone is. So, but I'd say even if you are a night person, having a consistent schedule will just make things feel more normal. So if you get up at 10 a.m., that's fine, but just, make sure that there's some consistency. Just, what I hope is that when my kids look back on this period of time, that they may think, yeah, that was really weird. Like all of a sudden we had spring break just went on and on and on. But I want them to feel safe, and I want them to feel like their needs are being taken care of. So we're on a pretty consistent schedule of like when we get up, when we have breakfast, when we have lunch, dinner, snacks. So far we've been doing about 2 kind of hikes or walks per day. And that's takes up a good amount of time. And actually my legs are kind of sore today because we walked so many miles yesterday. But it's a good way to get outside and, but practice social distancing. So like we're not going to the playgrounds in our neighborhood. Hopefully the sunshine is burning out those viruses, but I just don't want to take any chances. So we're going out to the Greenway trails and, just finding, there are other people there, but we all give each other some space and, that works out. So, yeah, take the time to get lots of exercise, play in the backyard. Again, that's something we can, look for in the resources in the group is, what are some, kind of low tech, backyard games you can play, right? If you, have like a little mini soccer game in the backyard, or like, get a Frisbee, playing catch, doing jump rope, like just basic stuff. Food, exercise. So, another aspect of food is that if you're home together, you can actually cook with your kids. So if you follow $5 dinners, there's a local expert named Erin Chase who is doing cooking lessons with her kids at noon every day. So that's free. You can tune in. I think they made taco soup yesterday. Yeah. So just get creative. Getting kids involved in cooking. It can also give a sense of something that in life that they can control, right? And my daughter actually said, I like this better than eating lunch at school. It's like, so there you go. There's a silver lining. And then we've been watching, doing kind of movie night in the evening and then going to bed. So I think, so if you have tips about, I think we might start a thread in the group about what, what movies is everyone watching? Because that's, I hear that Frozen 2 is in heavy rotation at a lot of houses. So we've definitely watched that here. So those are I think the building blocks of scheduling is like before you worry about the academic stuff, just make sure that everyone's getting their food, their exercise, their rest, and it'll help everyone just feel safer and more confident. So whether you're a morning person or a night person, just try to have a consistent schedule. Your schedule may not look the same as mine, but I think kids do appreciate having some consistency and kind of knowing what to expect. So I guess in future little chats, so we'll talk more about curriculum, but I wanted to just kind of throw out a basic idea out there, which is that there's actually an app and there's also a website that you can look at the TEKS and this Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. So if you've been wondering, well, so my kid is in 4th grade. What are 4th graders supposed to come away learning, or what are they supposed to know, right? So you can look at the section on Texas history and find out what are the key takeaways that they're supposed to have. So it's not a curriculum. It's not it's not like the same as like a history book or a video or a worksheet or a project. But it kind of gives you an outline of what kids are supposed to learn. So something that you might do kind of I see this period as we're all kind of establishing new routines and doing some planning, right? So I was talking to my assistant, Laura, and so one thing that she's been doing is setting out activities that her kids can do independently while she gets some work done. And that may or may not be as academic as what they were doing at school, but if you set out some craft supplies for them, or some felt and some scissors, or some activity books with stickers, it gives them a chance to work independently while you do, as a parent, you do the stuff that has to get done, whether that's chores around the house or if you're logging in for a meeting or a conference call for work. Just do what you got to do. One thing we shared in the group yesterday was that classic video of the North Korea expert doing an interview on the BBC, and meanwhile his toddler busts into the room, and then the baby in the walker busts into the room, and then mom comes in after them, grabs the kids, exits the room, pulls the door shut behind her. Expert move. So if you need a good laugh during the group, look for the classic work from home snafu, and because we're all getting used to the new normal. Everybody's gonna be like, okay, my kids need me, gotta take 5. Moms and dads, we're all dealing with it. Actually, my kids are outside right now. That's why you don't hear them right now. They're in the backyard on the fort. Yeah, but I would say like this is planning time. So, look up the TEKS. I'll link it in the comments, and I'll share it in the group. But so if you're just wondering like, what is a fourth grader supposed to be learning in Texas? As parents, you can learn this, you can research this. I'm not a curriculum expert, but but I've learned enough to be able to compare, like how do different schools address the TEKS, right? Because there's lots of ways to get, right? The goal is to have kids who are like, they turn into adults who have knowledge and they care about learning. They have the tools to teach themselves what they need to know, but you want them to have like that baseline of knowledge, but there's lots of ways to get there. So if it's books or if it's online or projects, presentations, there's lots of right answers, and your homeschool may look different than other people, but as long as the job's getting done, so I guess one thing, a note that I want to leave out on is like you may be seeing schedules circulating, like suggested schedules. Those are all well and good, but like don't judge yourself by that standard of like assume that everyone else has it more together than you, because I think we're all, well, okay, the only people who really have it together right now are the people who've been homeschooling all along. So I salute you, homeschoolers, because now we all appreciate what you've been doing. But if you like me are like transitioning into homeschooling, at least I've done it before. But one thing that was really different back when my son was 6 years old for first grade and I homeschooled him, we had a fistful of memberships, right? We could go to the museum for science, and we could go to the San Antonio Museum of Art for art class, and we could go to the zoo for biology, and we can't do that right now. So even for us, like, yes, we have homeschooled before, but basically it was like a field trip every day, and we can't do that now. So we're having to adapt to more of the online world. And plus it's different at different ages too, that, my kids are 10 and 12 now. So there's, things that they were getting at school that, which is really hard to recreate at home, like giving a presentation to a group. I don't know, maybe we'll find a group of people that can do video conferences for that, but we're gonna have to get creative, because it's different at different ages, and we just don't have access to the places that we went to when he was 6 years old, because social distancing, right? It's a different world. So I feel like I raised a lot more questions than I answered. I mean, the goal today was to talk about scheduling. That we're all in planning mode. Basically, get a routine down for eating, exercise, sleeping. Make sure your kids feel safe. Cover the basics there. Kind of add in the educational stuff as you can, especially as you get support from from your kid's school. Like I think Basis today is starting the distance learning. Some of the private schools have already started the distance learning. I'd be interested to know how that's going. So if you feel comfortable sharing, pipe up in the group. Give us screenshots of what y'all are getting, because it'd be interesting to see. I think we need to give our teachers and leaders a lot of grace, because this got pushed onto them really suddenly, and some of the online schools like Texas Connections, like they've been doing this for years, but for the charter schools and the traditional public school districts, this is a big new world for them, and they're trying to figure out how to make it equitable. How do they include families who don't have internet at home? How do they provide special education services to make it fair for those students? There's just a lot of unanswered questions, and I'm sure they're doing their best and working really hard. But we can help each other in the group try to make sense of this. So, I feel like I raised a lot of tangents in here, so if you want to know more about the TEKS, we can do a talk about that. We can, we can talk about, how you're getting work done while your kids are studying. There's, all kinds of things that we can talk about in future episodes. So just, leave me a comment or send me a private message, and, tell me what you want me to talk about next time. So I'm going to sign off for today. I'll be back at 9 a.m. Central tomorrow. We try to do this every weekday as we figure out how to be accidental homeschoolers. Thanks, y'all.